So I am here with Mark from Custom Channels, who is helping us create the future of food service. So Mark, how are you doing that?
That's a very good question. So at Custom Channels, for about the last 20 years, we've been helping brands solidify their voice through the music in their restaurants. It's a combination of listening to your demographics, looking at your spaces, looking at your goals, and fusing those together into what we call the art of the perfect music mix.
Oh, okay. And are you guys actually like diving into demographics and all that with your clients?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna meet with you one-on-one. We're gonna find out who's eating at your restaurant, when they're eating at the restaurant, what kind of money they're spending at your restaurant, and what you want. Like, is that the demographic you want to keep there?
Yeah.
And we will program the music based on those specifications and on your input to make sure that it's exactly what you want with no compromises.
So there's a little bit of strategy that goes into what you guys do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not just left to the whims of a AI. This is a human experience. We have human curators who put their hands on every single song before it goes into your restaurant. So you can trust that it's always going to be appropriate, it's always going to be brand appropriate, and it's going to be exactly what you want.
And that makes sense that you guys don't use AI for something like this, because we don't have robots going into restaurants eating. It's
Right.
human beings. It's
Right.
real people, right?
Right. There's no robot diners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actual people. And we find that in our experience that that's been the best approach to make sure that you're getting the quality that you're paying for.
Yeah, that's great. So, all right, I love music. I can't do anything without music playing in the background, right?
Right.
So how can operators use music to help further their brand identity in their restaurants?
That's another really good question. So as a restaurant operator, you've put a lot of thought into what your tables look like, what your seating looks like, what your napkins are like, what your forks are like. And we want to put that level of care into the music so that it matches perfectly with everything else. And as you say, everybody listens to music all day long, including your employees. And so that's another key thing that we want to factor into our mix, is making sure that we maximize variety and minimize repetition so that your employees don't get sick of it, because they're there all day, where your customer's only there for a short amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is what you guys provide, the service that you guys offer, is way better than anything else I might find out there, like on my standard music platform. Like, why are you different from everybody else?
Well, so we're going to be different from a consumer platform like Spotify or Pandora because we're a licensed music service, and those aren't built for public broadcasts.
So you can get in trouble if you're playing unlicensed music, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah.
So part of our service is taking care of all the public performance licenses for all the music. We have access to every publicly available song in the world through our licensing. So you don't have to worry about that. But another difference is that with Spotify, Pandora, some of those other services, is there's too much music in there, frankly. And it's a funny thing to think, but we spend a lot of time curating down our library to make sure that it is appropriate for your space, because just because you can listen to it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And you don't want to necessarily just leave it up to the whims of an employee or a manager, but we can take care of all of it for you, and you can do it remotely from your headquarters, so that nobody at the store level ever has to touch anything. It's just all done in the back end, and you don't have to worry about those kinds of inappropriate music playing.
So that's pretty neat. So you guys actually have a hardware you install in the restaurant, and then they could use software to control everything?
Sure. The hardware anybody can install.
Okay.
It's just a little box. You could plug it in, I could plug it in. We don't roll trucks out to do this, so there's no service charge for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, there's a back-end dashboard that you can access from anywhere in the world to control your player, control your music,
Neat.
send us requests, send us removal requests. But you can contact us over. I have plenty of clients who just call me on my cell phone or text me and be like, hey, I heard a really good song. Can you play more of that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, let's say I own a restaurant, right?
Yep.
I'm all about the return on my investment.
Sure.
How do you guys provide me return on my investment?
Well, so our research has shown that with the right quality music that matches your brand and the appropriate music like we've been talking about, diners will stay longer, their checks will be larger, and they'll return sooner.
Okay.
because the environment becomes very comfortable to them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of comfort in returning. And then, as I also mentioned, your employees are happier. And that leads to better employee retention.
That's important.
And it leads to better reviews, because you're not going to have reviews saying, oh, I had a grumpy server,
Yeah.
because they're not grumpy. They're in a good mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts you want to talk about real quick, like maybe customer service, something like that? What separates you from your competition, really?
Sure, there's a couple of things. Customer service is a big one.
Okay.
We answer the phone. There's no...
Hold on a second, like I can call you and you'll answer the phone?
Yes.
That's unheard of.
There's no complicated phone tree or anything.
Wow.
We actually get more support calls from our competition than from our own customers.
Interesting.
Our service is basically bulletproof. Once you plug in our player, it's going to work. It's going to play the music that you want. And if, God forbid, something does go wrong, you can easily reach us on the phone or through email. Or like I said, people...
I was going to say, you said I could text you.
They do. They call me, and we're happy to help you, because they don't bug us that much, because the system just works. So we have the time to answer the phone.
That's great. Well, Mark, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Sure, thank you.
And thank you all out there for joining in and helping us create the future of food service.